Hi, I'm Giuseppe, managing partner at Investbev. We're going to talk a little bit about raising capital. And so our firm, Investbev, is an investment firm. We have service offerings as well, but primary focus of what we do is invest in alcohol companies. So as you think about kind of best practices and pitfalls, the biggest takeaway, if you're going to bring one thing home with you at the end of the day, is plan ahead and be prepared. Think about that concept kind of fully as you're thinking about raising capital. It seems straightforward, but as we go through this presentation, you'll get a little bit of a sense of where you could have miscues, where you think you might be prepared, that you're not prepared, and the time horizon that you have in your mind for how long it could take is actually much longer than you might think. Do your research, understanding who you're talking to, how to find those people, what they're looking for. Incredibly important, because it's very difficult to get in front of folks like Steve, in front of our firm, others in the market. So when you get there, you want to be able to shoot your shot and shoot your shot effectively. And leverage your network. A lot of people think about, I want to make it on my own. I'm not asking for favors. That's silly. Ask for the introduction, ask the ask, and you don't know until you ask. Things to avoid. By having a high cash burn and having it quickly depletes your cash runway, that puts you in a disadvantageous position to be having a conversation with anybody, whether that's a lender, whether that's an angel investor, whether that's a venture capital firm. Having a quick cash burn means the fuse is going on the dynamite that is your business, and you don't want that to get to the end of the road. Some of these other things, taking on onerous terms, that may or may not be something you can avoid. If you are up against it and backed into a corner, that might be something you have to do, but try to avoid. Giving away equity for services. You would be surprised how many people's graphic designer I've seen on their cap table because they made their website for them and they gave them 5% of their business. So I understand cash is tight, especially at the early stages of a business, but be cautious of that equity because it doesn't come back once it's gone. Steve talked about debt a bit. It can be very expensive and draining to the cash flow of your business. So while you want to preserve equity in your business, taking on expensive debt that takes away from cash flow can be really, really painful. And the last thing, sending product to everyone who could be an investor. I would say, while I very much appreciate having a stocked office of samples, it's not necessary to send that to everybody to say, oh, you have to try it. That'll be the decision. The fundamentals of your business are really going to be the reason why my firm would invest. The product has to be good, but the product being good and bad fundamentals the product will not overtake the fundamentals. The fundamentals may overtake the product. So you have limited resources. Don't send product to everybody. So the point of this kind of framework, the plan, path, pitch, and process is to show that it is a multi-staged kind of concept to be thinking about. And you'll notice that pitching or actually talking to an investor is multiple stages away from the beginning. So there's a lot that happens or should happen before you speak to an investor that most people don't think about. So we'll dive into that. So on the plan side of this, know your numbers, right? When you're getting ready to pitch, understand your business, the operating kind of metrics of your business, the revenue, the margins. You would be surprised how many people that we're speaking to are founders, and I will say, what was your cash burn? What is your cash position? How much revenue did you make last year? And they'll say, I'm not the finance guy on my team. That's my partner or whoever. If you're there in the room talking to an investor, you need to know your own numbers. If this is your business, you are responsible to know those. And if you don't, that is an absolute red flag to an investor. How much are you raising, right? I've seen folks who are saying, I'm raising anywhere from 500,000 to 5 million. That is a red flag as well, because you need to have worked under the process that Steve's talking about, creating a very detailed plan of how much you're going to raise and why you need it and what you're going to spend it on. And so it should be very precise what you're looking to raise and how you're going to spend it. So be very thoughtful of putting that number together when you're going into a meeting like these. Know your company. This seems silly, but let's think about it for a second. Who is your team and why does your company exist, right? there's a whole conference full of tequilas and gins and all of these different things. Why does your gin, why does your tequila, why does your whatever need to exist as a product? And then why is your team the team to win, the team to launch this product and drive this product in the market? You need to be able to defend those and have rationale for that. And know your customer. Who is going to drink this? The answer that this works for everybody in all occasions is not the answer. And my partner Brian makes fun of the comment that I say, in that you only have so much peanut butter, and you're going to spread it over too much bread if you're trying to please everybody everywhere all the time. You need to know exactly who your customer is, where to find them, and how to reach them and talk to them. So the path. Finding out where you're going to get this money from is one of the things to know beforehand. Is, what do you need? Do you need fast money, meaning that you're going to get it quickly because you're running out of cash, or you have a great opportunity in front of you? Is it sticky money, meaning is this somebody or a group that can invest now and invest in the future multiple times over, and that's someone you want to be with you for the long haul? Do you need a passive partner or a strategic investor? A passive partner who's going to give you a check and hope it works out. A strategic partner is and a strategic investor is someone who's going to invest in your business, but be with you along the way to help solve the problems that you may or may not come up against. And spoiler, you will come up against problems. So you want people in your corner, theoretically. And then debt versus equity, right? This is an equation that you'll have to do. Why are you picking one path versus the other? Who can provide this type of capital? Create a target list. Where does this come from? There's a room full of brands out here. Ask your peers. You can also do research independently. Who's investing in these types of brands, and how to approach. Getting a warm introduction using your network, as I mentioned, is absolutely beneficial. If I get a introduction from Force Brands, our friends at Force Brands, I will absolutely take that meeting because I know it's been pre-vetted and I know it's an introduction that is welcome and pre-vetted, right? So use those networks. Have your plan locked down when you're doing that, and present some of that in the tailored email, tailored approach that you're giving to this person, saying, "Dear investor," in the email goes directly into trash. That is not something that I'm looking at, because you don't really want to talk to me. You want to talk to anybody. And that's not the kind of partner I'm looking for. So the pitch. So once you're finally in the room, which is very difficult to do, time is valuable, both yours and the investor. And so avoid including all of the information your whole life story and everything that could go into your business. Give me the high level points on why I need to care, and what are the things when I leave this room or leave this Zoom call that I'm going to remember about your business. The why you. This is, we talked about, the earlier, kind of having this in place. You need to be able to explain to me why I should back this founding team for this product. And then think like an investor. So as you think about it, investors see many, many brands throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the year. So we're looking for reasons to say no. We're looking for ways to get this kind of off the table and move to the next thing. I'm looking for red flags. And so you need to look for the red flags in your own business, identify those risks, identify the competitors in your market, and have answers for the flags, have answers why you're different than the competitors, and be prepared to have that conversation thinking like an investor. And then process, right? And so, as I said earlier, the process absolutely takes longer than you think. I would say it can take years. It can take months. It's definitely not days. It's not 3 months. It absolutely takes much longer than you think. So get ahead of it. But ask the investor what their process looks like. If you ask an angel investor, their process could be, I'm going to decide tomorrow. I'm going to sleep on it and make a decision. That's more the exception than the rule. Strategic investors like our firm, you're going to have multiple meetings. We're going to bring it to investment committee. What's a realistic time horizon that makes sense? So with that information, you can ask the question, how should I best follow up? Is there anything in this conversation that was a red flag? ask those questions. And I'm more than willing to, and most people are going to give you that feedback. And even if I'm not going to be an investor, you've at least learned, where did I screw up? What did I not have tight in my presentation? Support the process. So now you understand what my process is going to be. Unless you have the most proprietary technology in the world, please don't make our team sign an NDA. That's silly, because there's nothing proprietary that we haven't seen before. We're not going to be in the business of sharing your financial information. We wouldn't be in business very long if we did. Have your materials organized and easy to understand. This also seems silly, but you'd be surprised how many data rooms that I've seen, files that aren't properly named and organized. I don't want to dig through that, and neither does most proper investors. So make it seamless and easy for folks to think about, and acknowledge that the process does take time, and start fundraising way earlier than you think you're going to. It'll only be advantageous to you in your negotiations with the founders, or I'm sorry, with the investors, and be to your benefit.